Your next module in B4 is variance analysis, which happens to be the last module in B4. What will we be covering in this module? Actual versus plan and the variance analysis using standards. Let us first discuss what is actual versus plan. Let's say at the start of the period, we plan to produce 10,000 units and sell 10,000 units. So we expect certain revenue, we expect certain direct material cost, labor cost, variable overheads, variable selling, fixed selling, variable administration, and all that. And let's say if we are successful in producing and selling 10,000 units, we will have the actual revenue, actual material, actual labor, and all that. So we will then compare this 10,000 sales budget, 10,000 production, administration and everything versus 10,000 actual results. Comparison between this budget versus actual is what you call the variance analysis. It's a very helpful tool for performance evaluation, for cost controlling purposes, so you know exactly what we were expecting and what went wrong. So we will draw up a performance report that will show actual versus the budget, the target. Sometimes it is possible that we plan to produce and sell 10,000 units, but we might produce more or we might end up producing less. In this case, the difference between the original production plan and the actual volume, this is called the volume variance, right? In this case, it is 1,000. In this case, it is 1,500. We'll discuss this as we go along. So we analyze our performance, 10,000, actual output is 11,000. We can't compare this 10,000 budget with the 11,000's actual performance. What we do, we write up or we develop a flex budget for 11,000 units. Now we compare a flexible budget of 11,000 units with the actual results of 11,000 units, and this will reveal the difference, the actual variances. So this is called the flexible budget. We use it for the performance evaluation purpose, for the cost controlling purpose. It is possible we end up producing 8,500 units. So we will revise our plan for 8,500 units under the flex budget, and we will compare it with our actual numbers of 8,500 units production and sales. So this will be a much more meaningful variance. Comparing your flexible budget with the actual results will give you the flexible budget variance, which is what we are interested in for the purpose of controlling cost and performance evaluation. This is it. Neostar Corporation has prepared its annual business plan for the year 1. The organization anticipated that it would sell 10,000 units of its product at 15 apiece. So this would be the budgeted sales revenue. That its contribution margin percentage would be 20%. 20% of 150 will give you 30,000, and the difference between these two, of course, would be the variable expense. Variable, that is direct material, direct labor, variable overhead, variable selling, variable administration. And then the fixed cost would be a total of 25,000. So this is the fixed cost. This fixed cost involved fixed overhead related to production, fixed selling, and the fixed administration, all fixed. So this basically is all variable across the company, and this is all fixed, and this is the operating income we were expecting when we thought we would sell and produce 10,000 units. What happened? Actual units sold numbered 8,000 only, and the actual revenue was 112, and these are the actual numbers. Now if you make this comparison, if you do, these are the variances you will get. We thought we will get 150 revenue, we got 12, so 38 is adverse, unfavorable. Cost is low, favorable. Contribution margin is low, unfavorable. Fixed cost is less than the budget, favorable. But overall profit, in fact, is a loss. This is unfavorable. So if you do, this is the variance. But this is not appropriate because the original plan was for 10,000 units. But your actual performance was for 8,000 units. So we can't make this comparison. This won't be very helpful. So what we should do, as I discussed, we need to develop a flexible budget for 8,000 units, and we must compare these 8,000 budgeted numbers with 8,000's actual performance, and then the variances that we will drive will be much more meaningful. Now this is it. This is how we have set up our flexed budget. Let me write it here. This is the original static budget for 10,000 units. Let me write up a budget for 8,000 units of production and sales. If this is the planned selling price 15, so my flexible budget revenue should be 120. Right? And if 20% of the sales price is my contribution margin, then 20% of 120,000 should mean $24,000 as my contribution. And difference between these two would be my variable cost. And fixed cost under the static budget and fixed cost under the flex budget would always be the same. Keep that in mind. Now, if you write up and net off these, you will get 1,000 negative. Now, this is a much more meaningful comparison. Let me show you on the next slide. See, these are the same numbers. 24 contribution and 1,000 is the operating loss, right? Now, this is the original static budget. This is the flexible budget, and these are the actual results. If you make this comparison between the flexible budget and the static budget, this will reveal flexible. This is called the volume variance, given right here. That is 1,000 negative, 5,000 positive, so there is 6,000 adverse. This is the volume variance, it is adverse. Now, if you make this comparison between the original static budget, the master budget, and the actual results, this is called the static budget variance, which is of very limited significance to me as a management accountant. So difference between these two is 17,800 adverse. This is called the static budget variance or the total master budget variance. Very unimportant from cost controlling purpose. The bulk of your variances where you're most likely to be tested would be the comparison between the flexible budget and the actual results. This is called the flexible budget variance, and this is the one that is most important for cost controlling purpose. Budget for 8,000 units and the actual result for 8,000 units, and these are the variances that are helpful for cost controlling purpose. So if you calculate this difference, this will be the flexible budget variance, which is shown right here. Now let me show you how it would work. Based on 8,000 units, your revenue should have been 120, but the revenue is just 112, so there is an adverse revenue variance of 8,000. Your cost should have been 96,000, but your costs were more, so your variable cost is also adverse, unfavorable. Your contribution margin should have been 24,000, but it is less because of the difference, so this is adverse again. Fixed cost should have been 25, but it was less, so that's favorable. But the overall profit should have been, or the loss should have been 1,000, but you incurred more loss, so that means that this variance between these two is the flexible budget variance. The difference between -1 and -12,800 is 11,800. This is called the flexible budget variance, and that's where you are most likely to be tested on 99% times on your exam. We will learn how to calculate all these variances. So in our next subunit, variance analysis using standards. What is standard costing? Or what is a standard cost? Standard cost is what the cost should be for material, labor, overheads, variable and fixed, as per our detailed studies of cost. So standard costing is what the cost should be during production. And the standard costing system is the system through which we develop these costs, and then we compare our actual performances with the budgets drawn up based upon the standard costing. So like for example, our standard direct cost for material or labor is calculated using this formula. Let's say as per the standard, our labor is paid $15 per labor hour, and each unit of finished goods takes 2 hours of labor, which means our standard direct cost for labor is 15. Talk about material. We use a certain material which is used in kgs. Let's say 4 kg is required for a single unit, and each kg costs $10, which means our standard direct cost for material is $40. So this is how we set our standard for our direct material and direct labor. What else? After direct material and direct labor, we have overheads. When we say overheads, overheads can be fixed overheads and they can be variable overheads in the factory. Fixed mean rent, insurance, property taxes, salary of the production staff, fixed salary. Variable overheads means indirect material, indirect labor, electricity, gas, water, those production related costs which vary with the level of output, and fixed are those production costs which do not vary with the level of output. Now, how do we set standards for these two? Or let's say combine them into a single manufacturing overhead or just overhead for simplicity. What we do, we establish a predetermined application rate at the start of the period. What we do, we estimate our estimated rent, insurance, property taxes, depreciation, salary of the production team, fixed salaries, indirect material, indirect labor, all the estimated one, and we estimate the total cost for the period is going to be $120,000 or $180,000, right? This is the estimated overheads for the coming period. And let's say our standard is driven by labor hour because our company is labor oriented, labor intensive, or let's say if we use more of the machinery, then we might use the machine hour as our standard base or as our denominator level of activity. So let's say we have planned 90,000 machine hours during the coming period. So our overhead application rate is going to be $2 per machine hour, which means an item that takes 4 hours in completion will be charged 4 times 2, $8 of manufacturing overhead rate. So this is how we calculate the standard indirect cost. Standard application rate is $2 multiplied by the standard quantity of machine hours which any production unit takes. Let's say 5 hours are taken by a certain unit. So $10 of indirect cost will go to that production. Now, why do we use standard costing? Standard costing is used for cost controlling purposes. It is used for the performance evaluation. Budgets are prepared based on the standard cost and the actual results are then compared against the budgets, and then we identify the variances, and these variances are the basis for performance evaluations. And it also helps us to learn about standards and improve various processes when we identify different variances in the production system for material, labor, variable overhead, fixed overhead, and so on. Variance calculations using standards. What is the objective of standard costing? The objective of standard costing is that we want to establish some realistic predetermined targets of cost, budgeted cost which we can use for planning, which we can use for performance evaluation. Okay, now how do we evaluate variances from standard? This is it. Let me highlight the relevant part. The difference between the actual amounts and standard amounts are called variances. They can be favorable and adverse. Now, if the actual cost is lower than the standard cost, it is called a favorable variance, right? Actual cost higher than the standard cost, it is called the unfavorable variance. Like for example, we were supposed to use $10,000 worth of material for the quantity of production we have made up, but if we use $12,000 instead, so there is a 2,000 adverse variance. And if we use only 7,800, then in that case 2,200 cost that we use less is the favorable variance, right? Then next criteria, if the variance from standard could have been prevented by some particular manager, it is called a controllable variance. And if not, the variance is said to be uncontrollable variance. We'll discuss these as we go along. Our product cost under the US GAAP consists of 4 components: direct material, direct labor, variable manufacturing overhead, and fixed manufacturing overhead. So we will be calculating variances for direct material, labor, variable overhead, and fixed overhead. I will give you few formulas and you will learn those formulas, and you can solve any question on variances from any software, any learning system across the world. Okay, now direct material and direct labor variances, there is a single formula for it so that you can memorize it easily. Labor efficiency variance, labor quantity variance, labor usage variance, or material efficiency variance, material quantity variance, material usage variance. You will simply use the single formula for all these. They are all the same. The standard quantity you should have used minus actual quantity you actually used multiplied by the standard price of material, or in case standard price of labor. Just use this in order to calculate the labor related variances on efficiency or the material efficiency variance. You use the single formula. I will show you. Then If you have to calculate the labor price variance, or also called the labor rate variance, or material price variance, or the material rate variance, simply use this formula. The standard price we should have paid, the actual price we actually paid, multiplied by the actual quantity used, and sometimes he might ask you to calculate the variance on actual quantity purchased. You have to be careful what you're doing. Price variance or rate variance for material can be calculated for quantity used or purchased, but for labor, it will simply be the standard price minus actual price of labor into the actual quantity of hours worked. So this one, whether the material used variance price or the purchase price variance is to be calculated, there's two possibilities. But for labor, remember, standard price for labor minus actual price for labor per hour into the actual quantities of labor hours worked. Just these two formulas and you can solve any of these given here on the left of the screen. Let me show you. So let us do for material first. Material efficiency variance, also called the material usage variance or material quantity variance. Material quantity variance. It's equal to the quantity that you should have used minus the quantity you actually used multiplied by the standard price of material. This is efficiency. And if you want to calculate the material price variance, also called the material rate variance, it is equal to the standard price you should have paid, the actual price you actually paid, multiplied by the actual quantity purchased or used. I'll show you. Now look at this. Actual quantity purchased 200, used 110, standard quantity 100 units, actual price paid 8, standard price paid 10. So let us first calculate the efficiency variance. The standard quantity that you should have used as per allowed by the standard, it is 100. So 100 units of material should have been used, but the actual quantity used is 110 and the standard price is 10. Remember, I have rearranged these formulas in such a way that every negative variance, the result, if the result is negative, it will be adverse. Like in this case, it's going to be negative 100. So your material efficiency, usage or quantity variance is 100 adverse or unfavorable. Do any question, Gleim, Hawk, Becker, Wiley, any software using these formulas, they will never fail you. We have done this on hundreds of questions across different course providers. They will always work. Right? So negative in my formulas would mean adverse and positive favorable. Let us see. The standard price as per the given information is 10 per unit. Actual price paid is 8. Now listen, we can calculate it in two ways. Either the price variance for quantity used or the price variance for quantity purchased. Let us first calculate for the price variance for the quantity used. So quantity used was 110. So it's going to be 10 minus 2. 8. 2 times 110 is 220. $220 favorable. This is the price variance of the quantity consumed. If you want to calculate the price variance or the rate variance for quantity purchased, it's going to be standard price minus actual price into actual quantity purchased. Standard price is 10, actual price is 8 multiplied by the actual quantity purchased, that is 200, and this will give you a positive 2 times 2, 400, positive. In my world, positive is favorable. So 220 is favorable price variance for quantity used and $400 is favorable variance for the quantity purchased. Now let us do the same for the labor variances. We have two types of labor variances, labor efficiency variance or the labor quantity variance or the labor usage variance. It is equal to the standard quantity of hours they should have used minus actual quantity of hours they actually used multiplied by the standard price we pay to our labor. The standard quantity of hours they should have used was 500, but the actual quantity of hours they used for the actual production was 450 multiplied by the standard rate of labor is 15. Now if you simplify this, it's going to be positive $750, and in my world positive is favorable. And then we have the labor rate variance, sometimes also called the labor price variance. It is equal to the standard price we should pay as per the contract, and the actual price we actually paid multiplied by the actual quantities of hours worked. Now the standard price here is 15, actual price paid was 20, the actual hours worked was 450. Now if you simplify this, minus 5 times 450 gives you a total of 2250 negative, which means the rate variance is adverse because the standard rate is less, actual price paid is more. So this is adverse variance. So this is how you can calculate. Remember, your total labor variance is the sum of these two, efficiency plus rate. And similarly, your total material variance is the sum of efficiency and price. So this is just for the further detailed identification where things went wrong. Was the problem labor rate or the labor quantity, or was it the labor efficiency, or was it the material efficiency or material rate? So we need to pinpoint what exactly went wrong. Then we have the manufacturing overhead. Let us discuss these. We have discussed our material variances and labor variances, and we also learned how to split them into quantity and price variances. Now we have our manufacturing overhead variances. First of all, manufacturing overheads can be split into fixed and variable. Then fixed can be further split into fixed spending, fixed overhead FOH spending variance, and FOH production volume variance, PV variance. Similarly, we can also calculate the variable overhead spending variance and variable overhead efficiency variance. Just know the formulas and you can solve any question on the face of this planet. We have done hundreds and hundreds of questions in different softwares using the formulas that I have crafted. I'm going to write them right now. Fixed overhead spending is the difference between the fixed overhead budget versus fixed overhead actual. This is called the fixed overhead spending variance. What did we budget and what did we actually spend? Fixed overhead production volume variance, it is equal to the standard quantity of machine hours or standard quantity of labor hours that you should have incurred in the actual quantity of output produced. SQ here means the standard quantity of machine hours or labor hours you should have used for whatever you have produced, multiplied by the fixed overhead rate per labor hour or per machine hour minus the fixed cost budget. This will give you the FOH production volume variance. I will explain all these what they mean. Some of them are quite self-explanatory, like FOH spending is the difference between budget and actual. Production volume variance is something I will explain later. Then variable overhead spending variance. It is calculated by multiplying the actual quantity of machine hours or labor hours multiplied by the variable overhead rate, VOH rate, minus actual variable overheads. You need to write them down somewhere. I will also share with you the formula sheet I have set up. You can use it for solving any question, whatever come across. So spending variance is actual quantity of machine hours or labor hours multiplied by the variable overhead rate minus actual variable overhead cost. This will give you the variable overhead spending variance. What about the variable overhead efficiency variance? It is equal to the standard quantity of machine hours or labor hours, whatever your base is, standard quantity of hours that should have been used minus the actual quantity of hours we actually used multiplied by the same rate here, variable overhead rate, or simply call it the SPV, that is the variable overhead absorption rate, SPV, right? So this is it. This is the detailed decomposition. Now let's say if you have to find out the overall fixed overhead variance, simply add these up. Fixed overhead budget plus minus will be netted off. What you will be left with, if you want to find the overall fixed overhead variance, it's going to be the standard quantity into the fixed overhead rate minus fixed cost actual. This will also give you the fixed overhead under applied or over applied. And if you add these two, the final answer will, if you simplify, it's going to be the standard quantity of hours that you should have used for the actual output multiplied by the variable overhead rate, we call it SPV, minus actual variable overhead cost. This will give you the under over applied variable cost. And then if you combine these two, you will get the overall manufacturing overhead variance. Just use these formulas, use them anywhere, everywhere, on any question, you will always get the right answer. Negative to these formulas would mean adverse, positive to these would mean favorable. So most of them are quite self-explanatory. Spending variance variable, spending variance fixed, and then we have efficiency variance, how efficient we were in using our labor hour or machine hour. Now, what is production volume variance? This is something that needs explanation. Okay, now we want to study what basically is the fixed overhead production volume variance. We just learned it is standard quantity of hours we should have used multiplied by the fixed overhead rate. I will explain all these one by one, minus the fixed cost budget. Now let's say our fixed overhead budget is $100,000 for simplicity. Okay, we were expecting to use 5,000 machine hours because our production is machine intensive, capital intensive. So our estimated machine hours are 20,000. Now if you calculate the fixed overhead rate per machine hour, it is going to be the budgeted fixed overheads divided by the budgeted machine hours. So this gives me $5 per machine hour. This is the fixed overhead application rate. Okay, now listen. Let us take three situations, 1, 2 and 3. And let us further assume that our standard hour for each unit of output, final output, is 5 hours, 5 machine hours. So which means each final product should take 5 machine hours. This is the standard hours allowed. Now if 5 machine hours are the standard allowed hours for each output, and we have estimated the use of 20,000 machine hours, what would it mean? That we are expecting to produce 4,000 units. So this is the quantity of production we are expecting to produce, because 4,000 units will be produced, each taking 5 hours, which means we will use 20,000 machine hours. If $100,000 is the fixed overhead budget, our fixed overhead rate comes out to be $5 per machine hour. Right. Interestingly, the rate and the standard hours are the same, but they are not always the same. It's just a coincidence. It's just a coincidence. So let us just change this coincidence and take some number that doesn't confuse you. That should not confuse you. So I'm going to take some different numbers so that there is no confusion. Let me take your fixed overhead budget to be $150,000, right? And if this is the case, then the numerator would now be $150,000 and the denominator, as per the previous information, is 20. So your fixed overhead absorption rate per machine hour base is going to be 7.5. Now that makes much sense. $7.5 per machine hour. So based upon the 20,000 machine hours and the 5 hours allowed, we are expecting 4,000 units production. It is possible we might produce 3,000 in actual. It is possible that we might end up producing 4,700, and it is possible that we produce exactly as per the plan. Now let us calculate the volume variance in each case and then interpret the results. Now if you produce 3,000 units and each unit should take 5 hours, that means the standard quantity of hours that you should have used is 3,000 times 5, 15,000 machine hours should have been used. If the application rate is 7.5 and the budgeted cost as 150, so I'm going to simplify. 15,000 machine hours should have been used. Application rate is 7.5, which means the overhead absorbed is 112,500. This is the absorbed overhead, and what the budgeted was 150. What does it mean? It means the variance is adverse, which is bad. And why is it bad? Because you produced less than what you should have. Your activity was less than the estimated activity. So volume variance is adverse. Production volume variance is adverse. $37,500 adverse. Negative would mean adverse in my world. Now what about in case if you produce 4,700 units? If you do, these 4,700 units at the rate of 5 per unit should have taken 23,500 hours. And the application rate of fixed overhead per hour is 7.5. And the fixed overhead budget was 150. Now look at this. 23,500 multiplied by 7.5. It means your overhead absorbed is 176,250, whereas the overhead budget was 150. It indicates that you produce more than the estimate. It is a positive variance. So overproduction, you may argue it might involve some carrying cost, deterioration, obsolescence, theft, whatever, but we produce more than the budget. This, with regard to volume variance, is positive and is favorable. Then in the last case, you produce exactly what you thought you will produce. 4,000 units produced, each requiring 5 hours as per the standard. So your total Standard quantity of hours should have been 20. The application rate is 7.5. The fixed overhead budget is 150. If you calculate, the result is nil. So there is no volume variance. You produced exactly what you were supposed to. So the volume variance calculate the deviations from our expectations, what we thought we will and what did we actually do. So we have done all the variances from the cost side, material, labor, variable overheads and fixed overhead. Let us do now the other side of the picture, the sales variances. There will be two variances related to sales. One is the sales price variance, other is the volume variance. Price variance is simply the actual price minus standard price multiplied by the actual quantity sold. Now you might argue, so why do we have these things in reverse order? Because in the material price or labor price variance, we had SP minus AP. Why do we have it AP minus SP? I told you in my world, favorable would mean a positive variance and negative would mean an adverse variance. So I have just shifted these, reversed the order so that AP more in sales is good than the standard price. So if they get the positive result of this formula, that would mean a favorable variance. So cost overrun is adverse. If cost is more than the estimation, that is bad thing, that's adverse. But if the revenue is more than the expectation, that is good. So that's why I had to reverse these two. So this will give you the price variance, and in case if you want to find the volume variance, so it's going to be the actual quantity sold minus the original planned quantity multiplied by the budgeted unit contribution margin. Just use these formulas. You can solve any question that comes your way in CPA. In Cascade Company's January budget, the company shows 3,000 budget units sold, a sale price of 16. This is the standard selling price. This is the original quantity we thought we will sell, and the variable cost to be 10. Okay. The company actually sold 4,000 units at a price of 14. Let us calculate the sales price variance. Sales price variance is the actual price minus the original standard price into actual quantity sold. Actual price we got was 14. Standard price was 16. Actual quantity sold was 4,000. So you can just see here, negative 2 times 4, negative 8,000 adverse or unfavorable. So the price variance is adverse because the standard price was 16, actual price was 14. Let us calculate now the sales volume variance. It is equal to actual quantity sold minus standard quantity projected at the beginning multiplied by the budgeted unit contribution margin. Actual quantity sold was 4,000. The original plan was for 3,000, which is good. That's why you will have a favorable variance. And the budgeted unit contribution margin is the budgeted selling price and the budgeted variable cost. 16 less 10, 6. Now 4,000 less 3,000, 1,000 times 6, 6,000 favorable. So your volume variance is favorable because it is plus. You sold more than